Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. These are my stories of choice, change and action, along with the phenomenal guests I have on here. From a really young age, I've always desired to create a change in the world. The planet has been a constant inspiration to me, and Access Consciousness has shown me the tools to know that anything is possible. And I keep choosing. What are you going to choose? Hey everybody, welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast. So you're with me, your host, Simone Milasas. I don't have a guest on here today. You've just got me. And I wanted to talk to you. Well, let's see where this goes, because you know what? I start with wanting to talk about one thing and let's see, how this shows up. But I just finished facilitating a relationship done different class. It was online and it was amazing. It was phenomenal. I am so incredibly grateful for the people who chose to come on there and choose something different. And one of the things that came up in this class also was we were talking about, like, how many of you are just willing to have fun? What if the purpose of life was to have fun? Are you having any? And for years and years and years and years, I would sit down with friends, over a coffee or a glass of wine or something like that. And I would be talking about what is our purpose in life. And I always looked at, what am I here for? What am I here on planet Earth for? Am I meant to be helping the animals? Am I meant to be helping, people in poverty? Am I meant to be helping? And it was this whole thing that I looked at like that. And then I came along to Access Consciousness about 21 years ago, and Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, said to me, what if the purpose of life was to have fun? I was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, do you know how many hours that I have spent, talking about this, going through this and trying to figure it out, trying to get it right, basically, of what I'm meant to be here on planet Earth. And weirdly enough, I get that I'm only just starting to get this download of what if there was this relaxation with how I be in everything, and what if it is about, the purpose of life is to have fun. Now, if you look at the world, it's incredible what's going on, like in so many different areas. It's like you could say the world has gone to shit. The world is falling apart. And to me, it's like, what if we start looking at as the world is coming together? What if the world is coming together in a really different way? And I am incredibly lucky. I've got, Access Consciousness is in, God, I don't know, it's about 187 countries now. So I could literally fly almost anywhere in the world and, meet someone and get my bars run. Getting your bars run, if you don't know about it, please have a look at that. It's amazing. It's a hands-on process that we do, 32 different points on the head. And when someone starts to touch your head on these points, it starts to melt all those places that you're thinking too much, the judgment that you have of you, of anything. It's like all those thoughts, feelings and emotions, which basically you've been plagiarizing. Like, how much have you been plagiarizing all of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions? You see everyone else choosing and you go, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it mine. Because that's literally what plagiarization is you're taking somebody else's work and then calling it yours. So how many of your judgments and your thoughts and your feelings and emotions are not actually yours? You've been plagiarizing them your entire life. And everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, and beyonds. Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. We're just actually launching a video, which myself and Dr. Dane here did, on explaining what the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement is. So if you'd like to, check that out at theclearingstatement.com. Yeah, theclearingstatement.com. But basically, you know what? It just like, boop, 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 boop. It's like press those delete buttons on everything and it changes anything. Because this is the way it works, right? Any of the areas of your life that you think way too much. You do that thing of going, oh, let me think about it. And I used to do it all the time. I was like, I'll think about it and I'll go away and I'll work it out. Okay. What are you trying to work out? You actually know. You actually know. And you know. And yet you keep refusing to acknowledge that you know, because you think that if you think about it, then you'll be able to understand it. Well, it doesn't work like that. It's like you actually know. So start asking what you know, because one of the things in access consciousness that we refer to is you're an infinite being. Now, what's an infinite being? Well, what if there was no judgment? What if everything was possible? And you, as an infinite being here on the planet, you get to play, you get to have fun, you get to receive, you get to be joyful. You don't have to do the trauma and drama and all the dramatic and the sadness and the grief and the frustration and the anger. Because have you noticed any time that you choose frustration, because you choose it, it's a choice. You choose frustration, you choose anger, you choose to, buy into the sadness or the fear or the story, etc. Does it ever create anything greater? Tell me, does it ever create anything greater? I mean, it's a bit hard for you to tell me now because I'm on a podcast and I'm talking to the camera. And, if you don't know, we're on YouTube as well. And I'm being very Italian. I tend to talk with my hands. But name an area that's actually worked. Or do you actually receive more when you are like calmer? Relaxation. You're not buying into all of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of people around you. So how many of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions have you been plagiarizing of others that keeps you in this constant state of judgment of you, so that you can never find out what it truly means to be you? And everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. So look at this, like growing up. It's like, how many people did you surround yourself by that you started to buy their point of view? You sort of, you have to be a certain way to fit in, to conform, so you start to compress everything that you are so that everybody else can define you, so that you can define you, so that you can fit into some box, fit into this reality. Is that you? Or are you different? Are you so different and you haven't been willing to like scream it out to the world, or just wake up and be friggin' joyful, which is screaming it out to the world? And everything that is times a godzillion. Everywhere that you're suppressing you and compressing you rather than actually being you, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, privates, and beyonds. And one of the things that came up in this relationship done different class too is, I mean, we create relationships with everyone. It doesn't just have to be the person that you're having sex with, okay? It's, your kids, it's like your parents, like everyone in your family, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your business. You actually have a relationship with your business. You have a relationship with money, all of that and more. So, but let's take the one that, like the typical relationship that maybe, you end up, you end up playing with someone. Like you meet someone and you're like, hey, maybe you go on a date, maybe you do end up having sex, or you're just enjoying each other. Notice how at the beginning of the relationship, you really do start to enjoy each other. Then guess what gets inserted? The significance, the meaning, and, all of that and more. And sometimes from you, that you actually buy all the projections and expectations from other people around you and decide that that's yours. And it's like, oh, what are we going to do now? We've been together for 6 months. We have to choose something different rather than just enjoying each other. So then the significance starts to come in, and the meaning. It's like, well, what are you going to choose now? And then you end up maybe moving in with each other. And it's like, well, that's significant, isn't it? Now we're sharing a bed, we're sharing the rent, we're sharing the bills. And it's like, what else? And then somebody maybe proposes. So then now you have a fiance. That's really significant and meaningful. The whole of, Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies, etc., has made it that you cannot be whole unless you have two-ness. Two-ness. Two people make oneness. Doesn't work like that. It's like you're an infinite being, okay? And like I said, as an infinite being here on the planet, you get to perceive, know, be, and receive everything. You really do. There is no reason and justification for why you can't choose something greater. The only thing that's stopping you is you. So what is it that you would like to choose? Okay, again. So then you get it, and then maybe you get married, like someone's asked you, you get married, etc. You get married, and then it's like, oh, when are you going to have kids? And maybe you have a kid, and it's like, when are you going to have the next kid? And it's like, it's this role play that you use of how you're supposed to live your life. Now, I'm not saying that getting married and having kids is a bad thing at all, at all. I know some people who are fabulous parents, not for me in this lifetime. I did have a wonderful stepson for quite some time, but that was it. It's like not what I was choosing in this lifetime. Okay. And I know some people have fabulous families, and most people don't have fabulous families. Most people have families who are more desirous to pull them down and compress them rather than actually empower them to be everything that they can be. So how many of you have been plagiarizing your family's points of view in order to keep you compressed, small, and finite? And everything that that is times a godzillion. Will you please destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, and beyonds. You don't really have to know what all of this means. It's like, if somewhere in your world you're listening to me and it gets a little bit lighter in your world, then maybe this is what you've been asking for. Maybe this is what you've been, the difference that you've been looking for in the world. Because for me, it's like, I tried so hard to control stuff, to get it right, and a friend of mine said to me, well, your mother made you wrong your entire life. And it's like, so of course you had to try and get it right. And it's like, it's true. Everything I've done my whole entire life, I was wrong. Even like coming out of her vagina, as soon as I came out, I was wrong because I wasn't a man, and my mother loves men and she does not like women. So there you go. Right off the bat, when I was born, I was considered, wrong. So then I tried my whole life to try and get it right. But when you are trying to get it right, you actually eliminate the possibilities because you get really set in this way. Like, it's got to look like this, and you start going into this, what I would say is a conclusionary reality rather than infinite choice. Remember, I referred to it as you are an infinite being. So you as an infinite being have the capacity to perceive, know, be, and receive everything. Just play with that. I know that that's like an absolute total mind fuck that you go, really? I'm an infinite being? Hang on. She doesn't know about my flaws. She doesn't know about this. She doesn't know how abused I was. She doesn't know that I have no money in the bank account. She doesn't know blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. What if you could just wipe that slate clean, destroy and uncreate everything that is, and wake up and go, you know what? If I'm an infinite being here on planet Earth, what am I here for? What if the purpose of life was to have fun? Are you having any? And instead of getting trapped into all of these judgments, the projections and the expectations that people put on you and then you put on yourself. And again, it's all this like plagiaristic point of view that you buy into, and then you start to create that as your reality. Rather, I'm going to ask you, what if you were the one person who is different in the world that went, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. You make the demand of you and request of the universe. Okay. You can't demand of others. Nobody likes to be demanded of. Demand of you, request of the universe. What would it take for me to wake up tomorrow and choose joy and choose happy? And what if I started to look at what if the purpose of life is to have fun? What would I choose today? As an infinite being here on this amazing, beautiful planet, what would I choose? So part of a home play I would give you as well is go somewhere in nature. It doesn't have to be like this long walk or this long hike. In fact, I want you to take a really small area, like maybe 5-10 meters, I don't know, 20-30 feet, whatever that is. I'm a metric girl. Take that and take like 30 to 60 minutes to take a few steps and just observe what's around you. It's like, what do you notice? What do you perceive? What do you receive? And listen, what do you hear? Like, what whispers of the planet, of nature, of consciousness is available to you that you have been refusing to hear based on you've been filling up the space, because it is space, you've been filling up the space with your conclusions, your judgments, the rightness of you, the control freaks of magnitude, all of that. What if you never controlled anything again? And everything at that is times a godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion. Right and on, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. And the povads is the part like you're avoiding and defending. Like, what are you avoiding and defending with not choosing to be you? And you really have to have the strength and the courage to wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I don't care who's choosing, you know, the sadness, the trauma, the drama, the frustration, the fear, the anger, all of that around me. I'm going to choose something different here. And if you look at the energy of how much, you know, news, governments, everything is delivering at us, how much of it is fear-based? And I'm lucky enough that I've traveled quite extensively around the world. So you do get to see how this is all different. And, you know, like in Europe, war is imminent. It's like it's there. You know, in Australia, it's sort of like, oh, that's so far away, Russia and Ukraine, etc. And then, you know, someone made this joke, which I think is hysterical, about United States of America. Someone's found a time machine because they keep trying to revoke a lot of the laws that have been put in and change it and create something different, which is going to create this polarized point of view and this polarization that people are going to have to fight against that. So, but how much of the world at the moment has this energy of like, what can we fight rather than who and what can we be today? And I just want any of that sort of gets your back up. What I want you to do is just soar above it, like literally fly above it, and ask, what can you contribute to the planet today? What can you contribute to consciousness today? What can you contribute by you being you? So actually in that, what I'm going to do is I would like to read you something. Clear my throat, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a piece that was actually by Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. And I'm just finding it here. So listen to this. If you can, you're somewhere, if you're driving your car, don't do it. It's like, but if you can, shut your eyes and just listen to this, okay? Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning and had absolutely no judgment of anything or anyone, not even you. Imagine if you were being a bubble of oneness and the judgment couldn't get in. Imagine if every time a judgment came in, it actually added to that bubble of oneness, the gratitude and the space, instead of subtracting from it. The oneness bubble around you gets bigger. It adds to the no judgment. It adds to what you can be aware of that is different than anybody else knows. But you're in this bubble somehow, and it starts encompassing the people around you. It shifts the world of the people around you, and they realize for a brief moment that something different is possible. So you walk throughout the world like this. Things come in, and instead of bringing you down and compressing you, the oneness grows. The joy grows. The sense of peace grows. And the sense of space grows and expands. No matter what comes at you, it gets easier. There is an energy of a different possibility for being that we can be together. You can perceive the bubble around others grow when they are in your presence, because it's an acknowledgement of the being that we actually be. All that other stuff is something that we have imposed on us. It's not actually us. It's not actually what we can choose. It's a choice to be that dynamic. It's our choice to be that different. This is a choice you have as a possibility for a way you can live and be in the world. The aim of every tool in Access Consciousness is to make that easier, to make it possible, and to make that choice available to all of us. You don't have to fight this reality anymore in order to have you. All you have to do is choose yours, and this reality will melt in your presence. I friggin' love that. I've had that for a long time, and I found it this morning again, and I read it, and it was just like, it just explains so much. It's like you being you. And you being you is that difference that everybody else, you know, picks up on, and then they get to be that as well. What if that is what we're here for, that joy? Like I said right at the beginning, what if the purpose of life is to have fun? Are you having any? And what can you be and what can you choose today that would allow more of that to show up for you? So, what if you started asking to receive more? Even just today, just ask, what would it take for me to receive more? What would it take for me to receive what I have not been willing to receive before? It's a question. And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. What would it take for you to receive more? And it's like, where in your life have you decided that you're totally screwed up and fucked up and you're just never going to nail it? What if that was a lie? What if you could change anything and everything in your life? All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. What if that's how we're meant to live our lives? That's the mantra of Access Consciousness. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. So thank you so much for joining me here. As I've said, we're on YouTube. You just get to see me on YouTube. If you were watching that, or on all the other channels, please follow us, subscribe, do all of that. I would truly, truly, truly like to see that every single person in the world knew that they had a choice, that they could change anything in their life that wasn't working for them, and know that there's a different possibility. So much hugs and gratitude to you all, and thank you so much for being you in the world. Mwah. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change, and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes. And lastly, have way too much fun today.